Yamuna tera Ganakari Yamuna Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gati Gana Varhuraba Grivaradha Jaya Gati Gana Varhuraba Grivaradha Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana Yamuna Tera Ganakari Yamuna Tera Ganakari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Radha, Shama Sundara Radha, Shama Sundara Hare. Jaya Radha Sham, Radha Sham, Radha Sham, Jaya Radha Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Nitai Gaura Haribol, Haribol, Nitai Gaura Haribol. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivara Jagataya Stota Sattu Shishimachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivara Jagataya Stota Sattu Shishimachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnavrinda ki Jai Shri Rup Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Ji Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sari Goswami Prabhu ki Prem Se Kausi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopal Gopinath Cham Kundarada Kundagiri Govardhana ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Mathura Dham ki Jai Mayapur Dham ki Jai Jagarapuri Dham ki Jai Vrinda Devi Tulsi Devi ki Jai Bhakti Devi ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Devi ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai Shri Gaunita ki Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai Shri Radha Sham Sundar ki Jai Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol Samavita Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai All glories to the Assembly of Devotees, all glories to the Assembly of Devotees, all glories to Shri Granchi Ganga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 18th chapter, text number 14. Adhishthanam tata karta karanam cha pritagvidam vividascha pritaktvai chestam daivam chaivatra panchamam adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha pritagvidam Vividascha pritaktveşta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritagvidam Vividascha pritakveshta Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam tatha karta Adhishtanam tatha karta Karanam cha prithakvidam Karanam cha prithakvidam Vividhascha prithakchesta Vividhascha prithakchesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tatha karta Adhishtanam tatha karta Karanam cha prithakvidam Karanam cha prithakvidam Vividhascha prithakchesta Vividhascha prithakchesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Daivam cha atra panchamam
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam tatha
karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Adhishtanam tatha karta
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Karanam cha prithakvidam
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Vividhascha prithakchesta
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Adhishtanam,
Adhishtanam
the place.
place
Tatha,
tatha
also. Karta,
tatha
the worker.
Vivakka
Karanam,
Karanam
instruments. Cha,
tatha
and.
and
Pritagvidham,
Tatham
of different kinds.
different kinds
Vividha,
Vidaha
various.
various
Cha,
Cha
and.
and
Pritak,
Pritha
separate.
separate
Chesta,
Cheta
the endeavors. Daivam,
Daivam
the supreme.
Supreme
Cha,
Cha
also.
also
Eva,
Eva
certainly.
certainly
Atra,
Atra
here.
here
Panchamam,
Panchamam
the fifth.
fifth
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation: the place of action, the body,
the place of action
the performer,
performer
the various senses,
various senses
the many different kinds of endeavor,
many different kinds of endeavor
and ultimately the super soul.
and ultimately the super soul.
These are the 5 factors of action.
These are the 5 factors of action.
Purport: the word adhishthanam refers to the body. The soul within the body is acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as karta, the doer. That the soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Shruti. Esa hi drashta shrashta. It is also confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra by the verses Gyota eva and karta shastrartha vatvat. The instruments of action are the senses, and by the senses the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action there is a different endeavor. But all one's activities depend on the wind of the super soul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. The Supreme Lord is the super cause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the super soul situated within the heart is naturally not bound by any activity. Those in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. Everything is dependent on the Supreme Will, the Super Soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Prabhuji, please hold.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshuran Militam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupagadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamaran Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Govika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhano Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Adhishthanam tata kata karanam cha pritak vidam vividascha pritak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. The place of action, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor. And ultimately the super soul, these are the five factors of action. So Krishna is speaking to his devotee Arjuna and explaining about performing one's prescribed duty according to the scriptures. So Krishna also told Arjuna that one should act, but without being attached to the result of the activities. And of course, basically, one has to be engaged in the devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna. Otherwise, one will be bound by one's activities. If one is engaged in good activities, then one will get some good result. If one is acting sinfully, then there will be a reaction to this. But even if one is acting piously, so helping others, but one will be bound in this world. The only way to become free from this material existence, to become free from reaction to these different activities is by engaging in devotional service. And ultimately that is the activity of the soul. Jaiva dharma, jivka dharma, jivara sopoi krishnera nityadas. The constitutional position of the jiva, the living entity, is a servant of Krishna. So service of Krishna, that is dharma, that is religion, that is to be performed, that is natural. If one is intelligent, then he will serve Krishna. In the spiritual world, everyone is serving Krishna constantly, voluntarily, for Krishna's pleasure, without expecting anything in return. But there's so much reciprocation with Krishna. In the material world, the living entities are forgetful of Krishna. They're conditioned by the modes of material nature. The purpose of this material world is to give chance to the conditioned souls to realize their spiritual nature beyond this material world, beyond this material body, beyond the gross and subtle body. And that is possible only in the human form of life. So, and in order to realize one's existence, one has to engage in the service of the Lord. And one has to be under proper guidance, under the guidance of the devotee of the Lord, under the guidance of the spiritual master. Then one can advance in spiritual life. So here, in this verse, previous verse also, so the 5 causes for the accomplishment of action are explained. First of all, adhishthanam. So adhishthanam, sthanam, so that refers to place. Specifically here refers to the body. And then, so Prabhupada is explaining the purport that within the body the soul is there. And that is the first thing we have to understand. That we are not this body, we are spirit soul. We are situated within the body, within the gross and subtle body. So, in this material world, the embodied soul is not aware of his existence, the conditioned soul, and is identifying with his body, and is thinking, I'm doing everything. And he does not understand properly about this point which is mentioned here, that the 5 factors of action. So therefore Krishna is giving this knowledge, so we may understand. And then the intelligent person, he will understand, and then he will try to act for the pleasure of the Lord. So one has to use one's intelligence. And one has to actually pray to the Lord also for guidance, for spiritual intelligence, so one may be properly engaged. So one may know what to do and what not to do. So body is there, but the body is not really the cause of any action. It's not the only cause of one action. So you may see the body, so somebody is doing any activity. For example, a person is taking care of making some furniture. So first of all, he may cut the wood, and then so he may think I'm the doer. I'm cutting the wood and I'm making this furniture. So that is, from one point of view, this is right, this is true. But so the body is not the only cause, but the embodied soul, because he's thinking I have to do this, then the body will do. Just like you have a vehicle, a car. The car will not run on its own. But the driver will be there. He's sitting in the car and then he's starting the car and then he's driving. Without the driver, the car will not move. So karta, the doer, the performer, the worker. So that is actually the spirit soul within the body. Of course, many persons in the material world, they are not even understanding that we are spirit soul. And they may identify themselves with the subtle body. I-ness is there. I'm a man or I'm a woman. So the ego is there, false ego. And the material mind and material intelligence is there. But ultimately, because of the presence of the soul in the body, the gross body and then the subtle body, and then the subtle body is thinking and then is deciding to do this or to do that. So the false ego is there also, false identity, ego. Real identity is I am the eternal servant of Krishna. That is the real self. And then the particular relationship is there with Krishna. As a friend, or in parental affection, conjugal relationship. That is the real self. But then in material existence, so that is vikrit, that is changed. And one is identifying with the subtle body and the gross body. That is false identity. But so because of the spirit soul, of the existence of the soul, it may be realized. So the realized soul, so he wants to serve Krishna, so he's serving Krishna. Now I have to worship the deities, I have to do artik. And then he's going to the temple, and then he's doing artik with the help of the body. Even so, for the advanced devotee, two kinds of dhan activity. One is internal and one is external. Sadak Sharira is practicing devotee. We have this body, so we are acting according to Varnashram. And inside, from the realized position, then direct service may be there. In one's constitutional position, in relationship with Krishna. Siddha. Sarup. So the doer, karta, that is the second, that is actually most important. Without doer, then the body is not moving. Without the soul, the body is not moving. And then next, karanam, instruments. So for example, so the body is there and so you have to cut the wood. So you need the instrument. First of all, you have your hands, and then you need, however you want to cut the wood. You need a saw or you need an axe, and then you can cut the wood. So the instruments are required. Not simply the body, but the senses or the instruments are required. And then pritak vidam, different kinds, vivida, various. Pritak cheshta, endeavors. So many different kinds of endeavors are there. So one time, so the Buddha being is desiring to cut the wood and to make some furniture. Other times, so we have to eat also something, so we know we have to eat something. So the activity of eating is there. Again, the soul is there, yes, I'm hungry now and I have to eat. Or even if one is not hungry, well, now I have to take a break, I have to eat something. Because if I'm not eating now, then I'll become tired or I cannot function properly. So one has to be regulated in eating, working, sleeping and defending. So different endeavors are there, different activities are there. First is cutting the wood, making furniture, and then to maintain the body, so is eating something. And it's also there, first of all, he's thinking, now what shall I eat? And then he has different choices. And then he will cook, or he will go to the restaurant and order something. So different endeavors are there. Not just one activity is there, that is not possible, different activities to be performed. And for example, one is eating and drinking, and then one has to go to the bathroom and pass water, and then one has to pass stool, and then one has to take bath. So therefore not only the body and the performer, the senses and the endeavors are there for an action, but ultimately Daivam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the permitter ultimately. One wants to do something, but one needs the permission of the Super Soul who is there. Anumati. So even it is mentioned that without the sanction of the Lord, not even a blade of grass can move. Of course, then the Supreme Lord, He is in the spiritual world performing His pastimes with His associates. And then in His material world, He is there as the Super Soul, situated in everyone's heart, and is directing the individual soul, giving inspiration to do this or to do that, or not to do something. And many times, of course, the conditioned soul, mostly he is not aware of that situation, of the Super Soul also. But those who are knowledgeable, the devotees, they understand that the Super Soul, Paramatma or Krishna himself is guiding us, is helping us, is allowing us to do something. Of course, the intricacies of material nature are there also. And the law of karma is there. That one has done something in the past or something pious, then one will get one good result. If one has been pious in last life, and then one may be able to do so many things as he desires. If one has been sinful, then of course he can also do different things according to his desires. At the same time he has to suffer also, which nobody wants to. But because he was sinful, then he will have to take a reaction. Therefore, one is not free to do whatever one wants. Some limitations are there. Due to previous activities, purva samskar, previous impressions. So, the intelligent person, intelligent means he has read the scriptures, means he had heard from the spiritual master, from the devotees, and then he will know what to do and what not to do. And he will know that I'm not completely free to act in a certain way. But the Supreme Soul is there. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is there. And he will sanction. He will allow. A devotee is always depending on Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so he will do everything for the pleasure of Krishna. Is aware of these 5 factors which I have explained here. And so he's depending on Krishna, he's taking guidance from Krishna. And he's not attached, he's performing his duty without being attached. And he knows that ultimately it is by the mercy of the Lord that I'm able to do something. And if he's successful, then he is thanking the Supreme Lord. If he's not successful, then he will consider that it's due to my misfortune. So that maybe I was not careful in doing my duty, therefore I have not been successful. Or I'm not deserving because of previous activities. So different factors may be there. By which then we can see that one is successful or not successful. But a devotee is depending on Krishna and is not attached to success or failure. That Krishna is explained also to Arjuna. So one should do one's duty for the pleasure of the Lord. And one should be equiposed and not depend on success and failure. Of course, it is natural that one wants to be successful. And if one is successful, that is fine. But one should not be too much elated, because otherwise you may also see that failure will be coming. And then if one is too attached to the result, if one is successful, one is very much elated. But if one is not successful, then he will be very much distressed. So therefore one should do one's duty, but in an unattached way. And if one is successful, then it is the mercy of the Lord. If one is not successful, that is my misfortune. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, is teaching Arjuna how to be in the proper consciousness, how to be properly situated, and then perform one's duty, one's activity, ultimately for the pleasure of the Lord. So, of course, so some activities are known as Mukhya Karya, and some are known as Guna Karya. So, primary activities or most important activities, and then some secondary activities. Just like in devotional service. And again, two kinds of activities, that is the activity for pleasing the Lord, which is our prime duty, and then secondary activities for the maintenance of the body, of one's existence. So, Nitya Dharma, that is direct service to the Lord, and Naimitika Dharma, that is external in regards to the body also. But always we should try to see that Krishna is in the center. And for example, in our life, so most important is to try to please the Lord, and especially by the most important activity, that is the chanting of the holy names, the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is most important. And then hearing about the Lord, serving the deity form, these are Mukhya Karya, Mukta Bhakti Ang. And then secondary activities, for example, a man is a householder, is a devotee, so he has to chant the holy names, and he does that with pleasure because he knows I'm the servant of Krishna. And that will satisfy Krishna, and that will satisfy me. But then he has to maintain the family, so he has to have some activity in order to get some Lakshmi, some money. So he can not only please the Lord, serve the Lord, but he can take care of his family. Take care of one's own body, that is required. So that is ultimately, of course, taking care of the body of family, that is, for some that is most important, but ultimately we should understand serving Krishna is most important. Secondary is there than the family. But at the same time, so we have this body, and so we have to take care of the body, otherwise we cannot serve Krishna, we cannot take care of the family. So that is also important. But most important is to be engaged in the service of the Lord. And then by performing one's duty according to Vana Ashram, and then one will get the result, and then one may gauge a percentage, as Prabhupada said. The Acharyas has explained that one part has to go for the service of the Lord, or the devotees, and then one part is there to take care of our family, ourselves. And always with Krishna in the center. Yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad johosi, yad tattapasyas kante, mat kushva madarpanam. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, whatever you do, yad karoshi, yad ashnasi, whatever you eat, whatever austerity you may do, that should be for the pleasure of the Lord. So Krishna has to be in the center always. Then one is properly situated. Of course, that is not so easy for the conditioned soul. The pure devotees naturally serving Krishna and doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. Krishna is always in the center. But the conditioned soul, due to being under modes of material nature, due to his conditional nature, is many of times, or most of the time, thinking of himself, the Atma Buddhi. So the intelligence is there, thinking I have to do this, I have to do that. I have to take care of my family, I have to take care of myself. And then he's forgetting the Lord. So, but one has to practice keeping Krishna in the center. And one has to pray to the Lord, so we may be conscious of Him, so we may do everything for His satisfaction. So by practice and being under proper guidance of the advanced devotees, by determination, being enthusiastic, and being careful also that one is properly situated, then one can become more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But we have to be patient also with ourselves and of course with others also. That it is not so easy to be fully absorbed with body, mind and words in Krishna consciousness, in spiritual activities. And so Prabhupada in the purport is mentioning also that ultimately the Supreme Lord is the super cause, the ultimate cause is the Supreme Lord. As mentioned, not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord. And Prabhupada is also explaining that all one's activities depend on the will of the Super Soul who is situated within the heart as a friend. Krishna is there in our heart, or Paramatma. And he's our best friend. He's thinking about our welfare. He's trying to help us always. Like if one is in a difficulty, one has a friend who will help us, then we'll be very happy. Oh, I'm in problem and my friend is helping me. Maybe in different ways. Monetary or giving encouragement. And then one will appreciate. So we should understand that Krishna is our best friend and is trying to help us. And then one can be peaceful if one is aware that Krishna is there with us. We know theoretically, but then practically also. So we get knowledge, we read, we hear, and then we should try to apply in our life. Practical application. That is important. So by constant endeavor, then we will learn also, and Krishna will guide us how to be properly situated, what to do and what not to do. So Krishna within the heart, He will inspire us, He will help us. And for the devotees of the Lord, so Krishna is everything. And rather than just praying to the super soul within the heart, Paramatma, Vishnu, a devotee of Krishna is directly praying to Krishna for guidance, for help. So Krishna is everything for him. Prananath, the Lord of his life. And he will do pranam to Paramatma, to the super soul. But he will take shelter of Krishna and do everything for Krishna's pleasure. And he will call out to Krishna if there is some difficulty. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu, Jagatpate Gopesha, Govika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namastute. Tavai Vasmi, I am yours, Krishna. So he will call out to Krishna for guidance, for help. So Krishna consciousness is a cultivation also. Prabhupada has explained Nectar of Devotion. One has to cultivate, one has to practice, one has to endeavor to remember Krishna more and more. So we should be thoughtful also. And we should be introspective. We should be reflective. So at the end of the day, so how was my day? How much did I depend on Krishna? How much did I try to be always thinking about Krishna? Trying to serve Krishna. So we should analyze, and at the end of the day, how was my day? So one is successful if one is able to be absorbed in Krishna. But that will take some time, but at least we have to practice. So, but you should try to see at the end of the day, before taking rest, how was my day? How much time did I waste in activities which have not much to do with Krishna? Of course, we have to be practical, especially as householders. So sometimes, for example, if you have children, then you have to take care of the children and you have to educate them, but then children, they want to play. So, of course, we may try to help them to put Krishna in the center also when they're playing. But may not always be possible. And so, but then the children are playing and the parents have to take care of the children. Sometimes they have to play also with the children. And even it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says also to Arjuna, one should be regulated in one's happening of eating, sleeping, working and recreation. We cannot avoid sleeping. We cannot just think, okay, now sleeping is not good, I'm not remembering Krishna, I'm not serving Krishna, so I don't sleep. That won't work. The body needs rest. But we should try to reduce as much as possible. Okay, I'm spirit soul, I don't really need to eat much. But that we have to see also, that we have to eat sufficiently also. In the winter a little more, so you're warm. In the summer a little less because it's too hot and you drink more. So you have to adjust. So, but we cannot avoid eating and sleeping. That has to be done, but it should be restricted. So we have to be thoughtful. We have to use one's intelligence. And we have to pray to Krishna to guide us, to help us. Then we may be able to advance nicely, slowly but surely. So we may not be able to see Krishna in the heart or hear Krishna. But then if we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by chanting the Maha Mantra, then Krishna will also guide us. Krishna, Krishna Nam are no different. So if we chant, then we may get the inspiration also what to do and what not to do. And then ultimately by chanting, then you can see Krishna. And then ultimately you can hear Krishna also. Krishna guiding, or Krishna playing the flute. That is the perfection of chanting. You can see Krishna, you can hear Krishna play the flute. So we try our best and then Krishna does the rest. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yes.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for a very nice class. You are always wonderful. Prabhuji, I have two questions. First is, in 9 kinds of devotional service, Tarmade Nam Jap Sarvashresh. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that amongst these 9,
Navavida Bhakti.
Yeah, chanting the holy names is the most potent. Chanting inoffensively gives love of God. But my question is my question is what about the other 8 forms of devotional service? If someone is not able to chant his rounds very properly and somehow he's somewhat spaced out or is little bit relaxed or leisurely kind of a person, he may not be able to follow a strict. Chanting requires some effort for sure. So what in that case? Okay, and my second question is regarding your day-to-day schedule. You said, but nowadays I say you guide means you say your realization. Too much time is spent by me. I can say for myself on mobile phones, smartphones. Some relevant, some irrelevant things are there. And eventually I try to reconcile, but the mind says it's okay. So what can you say about that? Is it?
Yeah. So first of all, yes, somebody may not be able to be fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, especially chanting of the holy names, because that is the most important activity, chanting the holy names. So, actually, Utsa Nishchay Darya Tatta Karma Pavatana Sangatyaga Satovrite Sadhya Bhakti Prasiddhiti. So we can perfect our devotional service by being in good association, Satovrite, and giving up unwanted association, unwanted, undesirable association of materialistic persons. And then, so we have to endeavor ourselves. So it's not that we are in the association of advanced devotees and we hear them and then we not act accordingly or not engaging so much in devotional service. So we have to be in the association of the advanced devotees and then we hear their Krishna Katha or their or they're trying to guide us and then we should try to follow and act accordingly. And so we have to be very enthusiastic, for example, in chanting of the holy name. So it is recommended to chant at least 16 rounds. So we should try to do and we should be enthusiastic and fixed. No, I have to do it. So there's no question of them being lazy or take it easy. No, we have to have strong determination. And we should be fixed, no, I have to do it. And we should be enthusiastic. So we feel tired or health is not so good, but no, I have to change my rounds. Enthusiastically, despite all difficulties. The body may not be well, the mind may not be well, or some, yes, laziness may be there. But then we have to push ourselves and no, we are not this body, we are different from the gross and subtle body. And it is natural for the soul to be engaged in devotional service. And in this world by chanting the holy names. So enthusiasm has to be there, determination has to be there, endeavor has to be there, and then patience. So we cannot immediately come to the highest stage and be fully absorbed and fully surrendered. It takes time, so we have to be patient, but we have to endeavor to be properly situated, and we have to endeavor so we can advance nicely. So that is there, so we have to try. And being in good association, that will help, because seeing those who are fixed up in devotional service, one who is chanting nicely and always engaged in devotional service, if you are with this kind of person, then it will be easier, because their enthusiasm will come upon you, their determination, their purity, and one will get some mercy in their association. But then we have to be able to take that mercy also, and then try to endeavor nicely. This strong determination is required, that no matter what I have to chant, and I have to chant attentively. And so for that we have to see throughout the day that we are engaged in spiritual activities. And yes, the mobile, that is a big distraction, that is actually, of course, the mobile can be used in Krishna consciousness also, that can be very helpful. But the danger is there also. So, but you have your choice. Do things for Krishna's pleasure, or just do things for your sense gratification. With mobile or without mobile, we have to choose to surrender to Krishna, to serve Krishna every moment. But somehow, so Maya, the external potency of the Lord, is acting through the mobile also. And somehow, everyone, young and old, they're attracted by this mobile. And somehow it is such a thing that, so, because it's always there with us, and then one actually becomes overwhelmed by that. So, but then we have to control. So therefore, yes, by the end of the day, at night time, we should see, so, how much I was absorbed in Krishna consciousness, or how much I was absorbed in the mobile, and seeing this message, that message, and then, because now then different things are coming also. And so it is kind of dangerous thing, the mobile also. It is very useful, but it can be dangerous also. And it is well-known fact that for the devotees also, that many times they just become, they're wasting so much time with the mobile. Materialistic people also. But then even materialistic people, they know, if they're working, they're in a responsible position, that when you have to work, you have to work. And then you can, you cannot just be on the mobile and see what's happening in the world, or some entertainment. Similarly, as a devotee, you should know that I have my devotional service. And we can learn something from the mobile and get some information. But many things are there which are just distraction, and it is kind of entertainment. But we have to restrict ourselves, we have to control ourselves.
Just two small
But-
interruptions.
Yeah.
The Bhagavad Gita verse which says that one who is regulated in his habits of eating, mating, sleeping,
Yes,
and recreation, he can mitigate all pains by the practice of the yoga. Sutra.
yes.
So this recreation, does that mean that we can see something on the smartphone?
Yeah, recreation means, yes, you can definitely be relaxed a little bit. You cannot just push yourself, but little relaxation should be there, but that should be controlled. Little bit, but not too much. Okay? Hare Krishna. We have some prasad for everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.